Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event here with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
I nearly got my own name there, Aaron.
Good
So,
start.
I know we've been requested to do a couple of podcasts in between the group stages of the Euros and the round of 16. So, here we are with a gift. So, this is going to be the first one. And basically, remember that lightning round that we did last time? We are going to go through the teams again with how our predictions actually went, whether we were on the money or absolutely horrendous in some cases. But we do like to hold ourselves accountable here, the good and the bad, and the distinctly average. There have been a couple of meh predictions. We will be doing another live stream, I believe, where we will do some more team reveals and we'll go through how our teams have been doing in a little bit more detail. How has your team been doing in general, Lauren?
I mean, it's been okay. I think it's just the fact that everyone else has just done phenomenal. Like, it's been pretty consistent. I'm averaging, I've gotten 54 points every single round, except
Every
from
single round.
except from match day 3, which I used my limitless and got 56. So I'm
Where you
solid in the 50s. Overall, I think I'm like 211,000. So
Yeah, not the
pretty bad.
best. I'm doing all right. I'm 20k-ish, 23,000. But we both still got chips left. We've both got a chip left each, both got wild card. So I've noticed the majority of the people that I'm around use the wild card in the last round, use Limitless 2, wild card 3. So I definitely think we have an advantage for the quarterfinals, if not the semis. I think some of the quarters might actually be okay to predict. I think the semis are going to be an absolute nightmare for one half of the group, though. So it depends on when we fancy using them, but at least we've got it in the bank still, and we're not that far behind at all. I'm over 200 points, so I'm happy with that.
That's good.
But let's dive in. So, Aaron, we know the rules. No more than a minute to talk about each team. You went first for Group A last time, so I'll let you go first for Group A again, and then I'll go first for B, and we'll just alternate. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Go. Italy.
So Italy, like I said before, the great form, and they've just carried that on straight into the Euros, haven't they? So thankfully, uh, all of my Italian assets worked out. I think that a couple that I got wrong was Locatelli. I said that he was going to be a bit more defensive, more of like a deep line playmaker. And then obviously he popped up with the 2 goals in the second game, which I mean, I don't think many people saw coming. But overall, not conceding a goal, I think we praised their defense up massively. And so doubling up on their defense was something that went really well for me so far in the Euros, and just trying to predict who's going to score. And also talking about, I don't think I've said it in the previews, but in the live stream, I said that Immobile would be a streaky striker, and he looks on fire now that he's up and running. So that's it.
So with Italy, I'm grateful that we're starting with these because this is one of the few teams where everything was on the money. We said best captaincies, obviously match day 1, Immobile, Spinazzola for 9 points each. Locatelli were 14. They proved to be really good assets. Match day 3, less so, but because we had the team news, you could always move from one to the other. If you had Insigne, it was straight to Chiesa or Pessina. And then if you had Immobile up front, you could have went straight to Belotti. There were options to just move around Spinazzola straight to Emerson. You had the choice, which is why they were so good. We said Berardi would be first choice, proved that way until the final game, but one of my transfers was Berardi out, Chiesa in for that last game. The fullbacks were rotated, so Spinazzola had an amazing couple of first games, but then that final game got pulled out. And the one thing that we said, Chiellini will get injured. Didn't even get him 20 minutes into the second game. Boom.
He was running like a maniac in the first game.
There are 3 things certain in life, Aaron: death, taxes, and a Chiellini injury.
Yep, definitely. So Switzerland next. I was more on the Switzerland side than you were. I said that they were a good, well-rounded team, good balance of youth and experience. And there was times during this where I was like, "Oh no, I've got this so wrong." But then the last match day happened, and then Shaqiri just proved that he's still a really, really good player. So I think it's still like a good balance, but obviously they've got a really hard round of 16 tie. Well done for getting out the group despite a few of these upset results. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on them.
Bit more of a mixed bag with this one. So we did say I said avoid Switzerland defence. They're not very good. They didn't keep a single clean sheet in the competition. I did say that score, they managed to get one against Wales, three against Turkey. We weren't expecting them to get any against Italy, I don't think. But where we made the big mistakes, Ivanovic did absolutely nothing. I think he got 2 points overall. And Freuler, even though he was 5.5 million, only 6 points across the 3 games. I don't know if you did, but I definitely didn't mention Shaqiri, which was obviously a massive error. Didn't do anything in the second game, but the first and third, he was absolutely brilliant, and I'd be limitless in the second anyway. So missed a trick with not getting Shaqiri.
So for Turkey next, man, I think a lot of people got these wrong, but according to the notes that I've got and things that I was saying is, are they really that good as what the stats suggest? And then, so we both called that Turkey were not as good as what the stats and what their previous games were suggesting. So well done to us. Like we said that they had a good defense, but they didn't show it. They just completely bottled this competition, and I'm just happy I didn't fall for the Yilmaz trap that a lot of other people did, and thankfully avoided a few of their players.
Yeah, I don't understand my own predictions, to be honest, because my main point was not very good going forward and they're not very good at defending. And yet somehow I had them second in the group. Don't know how I managed that. But I didn't pick any of the players, rightfully so. And I think my exact bit of advice was don't pick anyone. Yilmaz said would be the best option. He was, because I think he was the only player that scored a single goal. But we also said avoid him, it's a trap. And he got 1 goal. What would you do for 8 million up front? I don't think so. So yeah, I wasn't surprised. A lot of people had them as dark horses. Not for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said later on when we cover Hungary, and I'll repeat that thing that I said. But going on to the last group, the last team in this group, which was Wales, and I completely underestimated them just because of the mess that kind of the managerial mess that was going on. I didn't trust the team, but I did say that Bale, if they are going to do something, he'll have a very sore back. And that second match day, he was phenomenal and could have, in terms of fantasy, he could have absolutely scored huge. And I know a lot of people had him on Limitless, and so that was quite a painful score when I wasn't doing Limitless in match day 2. But absolute quality. Really, I think Wales fans should be very happy with where they are right now. They're kind of just going on from here. I think they're the underdog against Denmark, but I think it's going to be a very close game, very interesting game. So I'm excited to watch that one.
Completely underestimated them. I think we did say they're not as bad as what everything suggests with regards to previous results, because they've been some good teams. So we did say that they wouldn't be Whitman boys, but we did have them last in the group. I said Dan James would be a good attacking threat, 7 points across the 3 games. So that was absolute rubbish. And fair play to them. They did better than what we thought they would. They got the best result against Italy. The other 2 teams got smashed 3-0 off them. Did really well against Turkey, and obviously did well to get a draw against Switzerland. I think they were well deserving of it. Aaron Ramsey was great. Gareth Bale was great. Ward, the keeper, was great. And I cannot remember his name, but the defender that scored had a canny little game as well. That one. Although Pardon?
I can't remember. I was trying to remember, but I probably got
But
that wrong.
I just know I'm going nowhere near Wales players still, because I think Denmark are the favourite for that one.
Yeah. So going over our predictions, let's see how many we got right. We're going to keep a running score. If we got a team in the right position, you get a point. I think that's just the easiest way to do it. So I'll keep a running score. For me, I had Italy top, Switzerland second, Turkey third, Wales fourth. So I only get 1 point.
I get 2 points, I think. I had Italy first, Turkey second, Switzerland third, Wales fourth. So I think I got Italy and Switzerland in the right places, and then Turkey and Wales the wrong way around. It's my animals. I always get my animals confused, Aaron. My turkeys and my Wales.
I thought the funniest joke was who's going to win, Turkey or Wales? Depends if it's on land.
Yeah, so that was great. Absolutely great. So we've got Belgium first up. Again, I said best captains. Meunier was definitely a lucky one with 15 points after the Castagna injury. Lukaku with 10 as well in that game. KDB got 10. And then, fair enough, the last game week, always a little bit more difficult to predict. And Lukaku still got 6 points. KDB was a great pick, but said he might be a bit too soon for him. Obviously, the first game was, but I was still unconvinced by the second game, and he absolutely smashed it in that second game. And I think he did all right in I think he got an assist for the last one, so he's looking great moving forward. Eden Hazard needed game time. We did say that, and he looked well off the pace in most of the games outside of 2 or 3 minute spells. We said Torgan Hazard wasn't a good pick. I stand by that. He got a 3, a 6, and a 0, which for an 8.5 million midfielder isn't good enough. And would again, bit of luck, bad luck, however you want to look at it. We did say the right wing backs would rotate, but Castagna obviously got his eye socket fractured. So Meunier filled in and absolutely smashed it for that first game. Not so much the second game, but we could definitely presume that they would have rotated round. And I think if you had Meunier for the first game, it's nothing more than luck. And I congratulate it for it, because it's just as good as making a good decision, luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I just kept saying that Martinez scares me. And I was right for the longest time in match day 2. And then I graded and cursed them. And then De Bruyne just put on a show. So I'm still not 100% confident. I did say that on paper, though, that this team would be France's biggest challengers. And obviously they're in the same side of the bracket as France now. So it'll be interesting to see if them two, I think they can meet in the semi-final, if I remember correctly. So we'll just wait and see how they do. They've got I think the hardest draw, a route to the final. So let's see if what Martinez can do, and let's see if he's improved his tactics.
That is one thing that was said, wasn't it? Martinez is the weak link, and it showed against Denmark. The only reason they beat Denmark was because Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world, came on and completely changed the game. And Axel Witsel is a miss. He was a miss for Dortmund. Don't know if anyone can remember, but Dortmund fell off a cliff when he got injured defensively. It put so much pressure on Sancho and Haaland going forward. On to Denmark. This is a write-off, in my opinion, because that first game just had so many implications on clearly their mental well-being. Lovely to see Christian Eriksen doing better, and hopefully he's going to get the same treatment as Daley Blind got, so that he can continue playing if that's what he chooses to do. Very, very brave of him, the Denmark team, and Daley Blind, because seeing that and then playing, I think it was later on the same evening, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I played 5-a-side 2 days later, and I was a little bit, ooh, just because it's in your mind, isn't it? Yeah. And if it can happen to these incredibly fit players. So yeah, caveat that. But we said Denmark, defensive kings, didn't keep a single clean sheet. Although it was never a pen against Russia in a million years, and it should have been a clean sheet. the two defenders, Mele and Kia, obviously rubbish. He's not rubbish. He's an amazing person and a good player. His points total was rubbish. But every time he's had a 2-pointer, I've kept him in out of principle anyway. And Mele is he got a goal in the last game, so I think that's justified quite well. Wind was not nailed, and I think that's pretty much all I had to say. It's had a lot to say about Ericsson, but it's pointless talking about it. Just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just that he's all right, and then he made it through. Would have been hurt. Like, I was on a walk with my daughter, just having the match on, and I was like, because apparently there's a limit on how many matches I'm allowed to watch in the house. So I was like, right, we're going for a walk. And so I had it on my phone. Honestly, I looked down. I looked down, saw the throw in, looked up to cross the road, and looked back, and it all just escalated, and I just couldn't. Like, we just end up standing there while I was just watching this. I'm just grateful that everyone's all right. And honestly, my only point on Denmark is just, it's not even about Denmark, but I hope, and I really think that first aid should be taught compulsory in schools, but that's just me.
Yeah.
It
is just you. None of us think that.
Yeah, no one else thinks first aid's important. But
definitely should be compulsory.
Especially like I don't know, I'm probably over the minute now, but as a parent, like knowing, because thankfully I've already got a first aid qualification, but it's just so important, the things that you learn from it, literally difference between life and death.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. It can happen to anyone, and I've heard many a story about young men playing football and collapsing, and it can't save someone's life. So I do agree. Finland was said Pukki was unfit. He didn't look fit. He didn't look on it at all. Didn't get a sniff. So no Pukki party. I was never really convinced. I think he might be in my FPL team at the minute, though. Actually, no, I didn't put him in because the Sol Buendia. I'm not falling for that mistake. We said that they conceded more than double to what they scored. That proved absolutely spot on. They conceded 3 and scored 1. And the Hradecki shout to say that he wasn't going to get any points was absolutely abysmal. After a game 1 clean sheet and penalty save, again, so much happened in that game that no one could have predicted it. And then he proved his worth in the next couple of games, where I think he had a bit of a stinker.
And an own goal in the last game.
Yeah, so you'd still take him 4 million, 13 points in that first game.
Yeah, 100%. The people who banked on him for their goalkeeper to see if they got him any points were absolutely rewarded. So well done to them. For me, I just said that they're playing with house money. They have absolutely nothing to lose. And I think it was only a goal that was the difference between them and Ukraine qualifying to the next round. So if they hadn't have conceded in like 1 goal, they would have made it through as a 3rd place team. So that just shows the fine margins. I think they can hold their hands up and be proud of the performances that they put in, to be fair.
Russia, Zuba the Trap, got 1 goal, which was a penalty that he should never have been given. It was scandalous. And he got an assist as well, which isn't the worst returns in the world, a goal and an assist, but I think for what people were expecting from him, there were significantly better strikers to have, and that was just proven. We said Moranchuk needs more game time. He proved that with the only goal against Finland. What a goal that was. Completely disappeared in the second half. But in the first half, he was comfortably their best player. Said Golovin would be their best player. He was shocking. But I think the biggest thing was lots of people are going into saying Russia are going to do well. Russia's dark horses. Russia this, Russia that. And I think my analogy of the France 98 to France 2002 team was absolutely perfect for this. They finished bottom and were dreadful, and they didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I said that in the prediction that they were the lowest ranked home nation ever to host the World Cup. And I said that it's going to be the difference between hosting the games in Russia to whether they do well or not. Like kind of having that home support. And I mean, they did okay against Finland, but I think just at this level, it showed the gap, especially when it was Denmark and Belgium.
So in terms of predictions, I had Belgium top, like everyone did. Denmark second, like I think everyone did. Then I had Russia third and Finland fourth. So they were actually the other way around. Well done, Finland. So that's 2 points for moi.
Yeah, and we had the exact same predictions for this group. So that's Group C, Austria. I said that they were overrated, and that the only reason they looked good was because England let them look good. And to be fair, I wasn't 100 miles off of that. Alaba, we said, was not the best. Then he got an assist in the first game. But other than that, I don't think there was anything to like get me excited or out my chair or anything like that. It was just they did what they had to do. I think that like they're through to the next round. That's all they can. That's all you can ask for, really. I think this is as far as they're going to get, though. Tough draw.
I agree. So just on the prediction side of things, Alaba's done nothing in an Austria shirt, got 2 assists, but I had him in my team, and that was all right for 5.5 million. You can't expect anything else. He's just an enabler that I had in that I'd expected to sub out every game. But actually ended up keeping him in. I think for one of them he got a clean sheet as well. So a cushy little 6-pointer. It's the equivalent of a goal for a forward. We didn't mention Lena, who got a 7, a 1, and a 6. But most people are going to be limitless in for that 1-pointer. So if you had him, you got a 7 and a 6 most likely. I called Conrad Lima Chris in the last podcast, so that was wrong. And I knew his name was Conrad. It was just the minute got to me, and I thought I'd mention it. In terms of positives, we said don't back on Arnautovic. He got 5 points in the first game. Whoop-de-doo, same as Alaba. And he got a 0 for being xenophobic, and then a 2-pointer. Complete myth. We said avoid Sabitzer for 8 million. I think that is vindicated because he got a 5, a 2, and a 3, which isn't terrible. But for 8 million, when you look at some of the scores that 8 millions are getting, really, I don't think it's good enough, especially when the highest is a 5. And I made a comment that I thought Bachmann was better than Hinteregger. Hinteregger got a 9, Bachmann got an 8. I'm going to take that as a draw.
Yeah.
It's not a draw, but it's not a draw at all, mathematically. But it is on this podcast.
We'll
It's
take
ours.
it.
We make the rules.
Yeah, so that's why it's 4-3 on the scores, and it's a draw right now. So
happy days.
Yeah, Netherlands next. I was not confident at all. Don't trust Frank de Boer. I still don't, but I think we did say that they'll be good enough to top the group, and I was saying that the round of 16 was going to be the first that they get, but their run to the final is very, very nice. Yeah. So they've turned around in that regard. And the fact that all of their games were at home as well. So that really helped out. Dumfries missed out on him, especially on that limitless week, which was rough. But he's a good player, and apparently he has a 12 million buyout clause, so he'll be moving club.
Yeah, that's insane. I think even we could afford that. Not Newcastle, I mean me and you.
Yeah, between us.
Newcastle couldn't afford it. So yeah, my comment was Depay and Genie are the only 2 assets worth getting. Half true, they were the 2 best assets to get, I think. But Dumfries we didn't mention at all, and what a player! He's in my team straight away for the round of 16s, not going anywhere. And even with the goalkeeper at 4.5, we said we couldn't predict who was going to play, although we thought it would be Stecklenburg. I still stand by that. that I wouldn't want to take that risk on my goalkeepers. He did well though in goal, and Patrick Van Aanholt did quite well as well, just in terms of getting a couple of clean sheets. But the first game was a little bit of a nightmare for them. They looked really open against Ukraine, and it could have went another way once it goes back to 2-2. Jury's still out on De Boer for me. They didn't play anyone of any real merit in their group at all. No disrespect to those teams, but I think that was the easiest overall group they could have got. Fair enough, there were a couple of other teams that might be considered. Actually, no, because they had North Macedonia, who are the worst team in the competition. So, yeah, I think they couldn't have had it any easier with those three teams.
North Macedonia, I said they're not very well known. It's a great achievement to make it to the tournament. I think they made a good account for themselves, to be fair. They just played fearless. If I had to redo my team again, forget about hindsight. Like, never mind that. I don't know why I put Rostovsky in as a 4 million option when I had Donnarumma as my first goalkeeper. I should have just went 4 million goalkeeper, and then I could have upgraded a defender. So that's, forget hindsight and all of that. I mean, I wouldn't have even subbed Donnarumma out for the Finland goalkeeper in that match. But yeah, I don't know why I put him in. But other than that, I think they made matches entertaining because they just kind of almost like Leeds do, kind of neglect defending, and they're just going to try and attack you for 90 minutes. I know Leeds fans will probably get frustrated and go, "Oh, we've not conceded this many, blah blah blah." But you know my point, that it's quite fearless, especially when they play the big teams.
Yeah, Rostovsky, I don't think you should overly regret of all your decisions. That's not the one you should regret. If you got
Yeah,
bad,
there's more
because
coming.
of him, it's because of the other players that you've picked. If I get what you mean, or you wish you'd went for a 4 million goalkeeper, but if Donnarumma did concede, then there is hindsight in the fact that Donnarumma kept 3 clean sheets. Whereas outfield, it's not just a one-on-one with your goalkeepers. It's obviously you've got 3 players there that can outperform, and he could have got something.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. I don't think that I put that as like an evens, because what was anyone expecting? He played 3 games and he was a 4 million euro defender. That's
a wing
all,
back as well.
Yeah, like that's all you can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Alioski did awfully, 0-5-0, obviously because he missed his pen and put it in afterwards, but conceded a couple of goals in the game as well. And I wasn't anywhere near close, I don't think, to put an Alioski in. I think there were other better 4.5 defenders, but Rostovsky I didn't go with. But if I did, I don't think I'd be regretful if it allowed me to spend money elsewhere. For example, if it was for Kjar, I could have got an extra 0.5 out of someone else, but I don't even know where I would have put that 0.5, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And then with Ukraine, I said I'm not sure which Ukraine will turn up. They've got very good individuals, but I don't buy the overall hype of the team. I think Shevchenko's done a good job in terms of getting like them as a solid unit, but we saw like the unpredictability of the team in some of these games. Like, I think the only team that they really looked really good against was North Macedonia, and then they ended up subbing off all their best players. And I think they should have kept them on more, because some of them players who are really good have not had much playing time this season. So it's kind of like the Jesse Lingard effect, where is he only as good because he's got fresh legs in the middle of the season? Which is my opinion. And then he quickly regressed. But I don't know. We'll see. They've got an interesting tie in the round of 16. So I'm quite excited to see what Ukraine turn up again.
Yeah, I said they'd be tough to break down, and they absolutely weren't tough to break down in the slightest. Just 24-hour shop this lot, just come whenever you like. We did say avoid the Zinchenko trap. Come on. He's not very good in the attacking third. I think I saw him get 1 assist from Man City, which I think was the Champions League semi-final. I didn't even get it, did he? He passed it, and then De Bruyne passed it on.
You got the assist of the
assist of an assist once. So You got yourself to blame if you pick Zinchenko, in my opinion. Especially on Limitless, it's a trap. And we're said Malinovsky has amazing stats, but Ukraine aren't Atalanta. Although I thought they actually attacked quite well in some games. And the second half against the Dutch, they attacked well. Even in the beginning of the first half, they attacked quite well. And obviously against North Macedonia, they battered them in the first half. They weren't great in the last game. But we did say that he struggles against good teams, and I had him in when he missed his penalty, got a 0-pointer overall, and it just sums him up. Absolutely sums up Malinovsky, that he lacks composure. His decision making is not the best, but he is an incredibly gifted technical player.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I didn't really have him for anything other than my limitless. I wish I didn't have him for my limitless. I don't know. I just didn't want to miss out. I didn't want to be that person that missed out on his points when I had unlimited free transfers, and it was stupid of me. Should have just went for Shaqiri. Oh, actually, no, he did rubbish that week. I should have went for anyone else, not them two.
I think it was Yarmolenko was the one who did well. But
I had Yarmolenko. I doubled up Yarmolenko.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cool, good stuff. All right, so for predictions, I did Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, North Macedonia. Got obviously Ukraine, Austria the other way around. We got really close to a full set there. If it wasn't for that last game, I think it was goal difference. That was the difference between Ukraine and Austria in the end. But 2 points.
It goes down to head, and then goal difference. So it was because Austria won. I mean, they might have had better goal difference anyway. I don't know. But yeah, we had exactly the same, didn't we? Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, North Macedonia. So another 2 points. There's a theme here. So for England, Kane and Mount are the most secure. When Mason Mount isn't hugging his mates and there aren't weird rules going on that the Scotland team allowed to play, that would have been true. Mason Mount probably would have played every game, which is the last game, and Kane did play every game, and neither of them did anything. Mason Mount actually played really, really well. Harry Kane was dreadful. You can talk about the service he gets all day long, but ultimately, if he wants some service, maybe stand in the box, not on the left wing.
That's one of my biggest gripes about Kane, but
it's annoying. And I had Kane. My team was said Kane would be great, and Kane was shocking. Oh, that's my bad. And we said, beware of our defense. Beware, because they might keep 3 clean sheets in a row. So yeah, John Stones and Jordan Pickford were absolute standout. And I've seen a lot of teams trying to be a bit niche and a bit indie and a bit hipster. For me, Jordan Pickford's been the best goalkeeper in the competition, which pains me to say the fact that he's a Mackham. And I don't like him.
Yeah.
But he's made some crucial. I think he's only made 6 saves in the competition, but 4 of them have been worldies. And he's kept 3 clean sheets, and he's organised that defence really well. I thought John Stones played really well. And obviously, you asked me, what do I think would be best going forward after the sort of minute ended? Do you think we should finish top, second? And I said, out of integrity, out of principle, everything else, I just think we should finish top if we can. Obviously, if the other teams are better than they deserve to finish top, then obviously. But if we can finish top and we are good enough to do it, then we should. And I think that's been completely vindicated by the fact that, yes, we've got to play Germany, and every team at this stage isn't going to be easy. But between this half and the other half of the bracket, I know what every single English fan would prefer. So well done for just going out and winning.
Yeah. And England are the only team in the round of 16 playing at home as well, which is ideally what you want.
Yeah.
More games in London, the better. It just means they don't have to travel, less tired. Bring everyone to England. I know they've got to travel for the quarterfinal if they get there. But I said that I was questioning whether the home fans would help or hinder the team. It seems to be a mixture of both right now. It's not like England are free-flowing attacking for all the attacking talent that they have. But I think I've heard just lots of conflicting things from the pundits saying that Gareth Southgate's trying to think about how he's going to beat France and all the Portugal and all these other teams in Belgium. And the way to do that is to be solid defensively. Obviously, 3 clean sheets. So mission accomplished if that's what Southgate was trying to do. but I said that the injured players should leave the team, and it's just some players that just don't look up to it. But to be fair, I can't fault now that Maguire's back. Not that Mings has played badly, but Maguire back gives it a little bit more calmness in the defense. And I just don't know what to do with
Mings has
Henderson.
played well. Mings played very, very well those first few games.
Yeah. And then fair play to Phillips.
He played really well in the first, man of the match, and he was fantastic.
In the first game. In the first game.
He was below average against Scotland. He was exactly why I didn't want him playing against Scotland. And I think me and you could have played in the middle against Czech Republic, to be honest with you.
I think, like, I was just meaning like fair play because I didn't know he could pull out that kind of performance that he did in the first game of Croatia, keeping Modric quiet.
Yeah, it was really good. Excellent. Next on to Czech Republic. So we said that they aren't the dark horses that they once were, which, I mean, I just think they've been okay. They've been okay. Nothing special, but certainly not bad. We didn't mention Schick, 21 points. That was an oversight on our part. We said Souček could be okay. Didn't really do anything. We missed out Soufal as well. Soufal was all right. To be fair, Soufal's 5.5 million and got 12 or 13 points.
I think he's 5 million.
Yeah, 5 million. So it's 5.3 now. So yeah, 5 million. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably an oversight as well.
Yeah, I think that's my bad because once Schick left Roma and he went to the Bundesliga, I kind of forgot that he existed, which is my bad. Just because he wasn't the best for Roma. And I don't watch much Bundesliga, which is something I'm going to fix going forward. Good players.
I watch Bundesliga, so it's bad. It's my fault.
Good players, but I said I don't rate the team. But after beating Scotland, like in the manner that they did, it was in very good hands. Like they made a good run of it. So underestimated them a little because I had them finishing last. But it's good that they're through.
Scotland, right then. So they are not easy to play against, is what was said. And I still agree. I don't think until the second half against Croatia, anyone had an easy time. Czech Republic beat them 2-0. And if you want to look at that as an easy win, then you can. But if you watch the game, you'd see that that really was not the case. We had a tough time against them, and Croatia had a really tough time against them until they got that second goal. And I just think they were deflated by then. They knew that they were going home. And that allowed Croatia to push forward. McGinn did nothing, whereas we were saying, yeah, get McGinn in. Nothing. Andrew Robertson got a clean sheet at least, but in that first game, he could have had multiple assists and a goal. I thought he played really, really well. It's just, he's got no one to pass to half the time, bless him, in terms of the forward areas, especially in that first game when they played one up front for the first half. As soon as they went to two, played Che Adams up front, they were considerably better. And obviously the second goal was a worldie from borderline the halfway line, which, again, you can't account for too much. Keeper in no man's land. So I put that as a bit of a draw for the Robertson call. Could have went much differently, but he didn't do badly, and he got one clean sheet. But Scotland also weren't as good as what we thought. Obviously, I put them in as second in my group. It was a bit of a whim. That was my hot take. That was my this probably isn't going to happen, but I've got a feeling. And it would. So for Croatia, we said age wasn't on their side. I think that proved to be very true, particularly against England. They looked laboured, didn't look like they had a prayer, struggled against Czech Republic for most parts of the game. And yeah, fair enough, pulled out the bag against Scotland. Perisic, we said, was the best asset, proved to be the case, 19 points. We said Modric would be the second best, proved to be the case, 15 points. We said Perisic had more chances of scoring from open play than Modric did from the penalty box. He's a penalty taker, 2-0. We said avoid the rotating forwards, which they did rotate, and I think maybe Kramaric got a return, and other than that, like, waste of time. And was said that they were poor defensively and they conceded in every single game. So to avoid their defense, I think the only thing that I got wrong about them was that I thought they might struggle against Scotland just because of how compact Scotland would be, and obviously they smashed them 3-1. So that was my fatal flaw in the Croatia plan.
Yeah, with Modric, it just, if you go back for each tournament over the last few years and look at the goals in the group stage, Modric has scored a worldie in every single group stage. It just seems to be another certain in life,
Yeah,
along with a Chiellini injury, that Modric will score a worldie in a group stage. What a goal! But like I said, there was question marks over the Croatia team. They have the experience. It's just whether they can do it again. It's just crazy that they ended up sneaking in at second place in the end. So well played to them. Yeah, definitely the first game, Czech Republic, was the one that they had to win. And I think they were just missing personnel. Like, if you think about the first goal, which was the second phase of play from a corner, if Tierney was there, arguably we could make the argument that he would have reacted quicker than what the other defenders did to that second ball. Also Billy Gilmore, don't know, before COVID, I don't know why he didn't play against Czech Republic. But I think, like I said, England was there, was the match that they're going to get pumped up for, but as a result they were underanalyzed. Or it was just all about how much heart they have, how much belief that they have, and how passionate the fans were. They looked pretty organized. And in
yeah.
terms of some of the other teams in here, in terms of qualification for the World Cup, I think they're in a good stead to give it a good go and try and qualify. So I think the developing into a good team. It's just unfortunate that they kind of lost that spirit after the second goal, both times that they conceded to. Onto the Group E. So starting off with Poland, good players, but Lewandowski, we said he was a trap. For the first game, he definitely was. But did he score 2 in the last game?
Scored 3 overall, yeah. You got 1 in the second game and 2 in the third.
So that's not bad, I guess, in the end. But
Great.
still,
Absolutely
compared
great.
to, compared to the Harry Kane, I think it was the same price as Harry Kane. Maybe a little bit cheaper. Can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it's easy to see who was the better pick there in hindsight. And Poland just, I think that they really did struggle, just playing too slow, and their defense wasn't as solid as we made them out to be.
Yeah, my first point of contention was I kept on calling them Bednarak instead of Jan Bednarek. Was said that Poland may struggle, obviously, against the stronger teams in the group. However, against the weaker teams, that they could look quite solid. Turns out that they were completely the way around, where they got their draw against Spain and got beaten off the other two. Didn't keep a single clean sheet. I'm glad I didn't end up going with Bednarek because he had an injury concern. That would have been a nightmare. But we did say target against Sweden offensively, and the game was 3-2. So I think that was about the only correct thing that we said about Poland.
Yeah, I kind of missed the mark on them. Slovakia, interesting team is all I wrote. Obviously didn't do a lot of research on them in hindsight. But I did remember saying that if ball recoveries were in the game, Skriniar would be a good shout. Ball recoveries weren't in the game, but he still got a return, so well played for him. I don't even think he was high owned at all. I didn't see that coming, but I didn't also see Hamšík having as good of a performance that he did in the first game anyways. I think just they played quite well, to be fair, compared to what I had my estimation for them. They
Made up for it in the last
outperformed
game,
it.
though, didn't he?
Yep.
Absolute ghost.
Yeah. So at least in the first game, but I think they did better than what I thought. So apologies to Slovakia on my behalf. They don't need it. They don't even know who I am.
So I said avoid. They rarely scored. They got 2 goals and they kept no clean sheets. But I wrote my actual comment down from the first game. And if anyone wants any mystic advice, we will set up a Patreon for Dan Predicts. This is an exact quote, Aaron. I'm reading it. Dubravka is capable of getting save points, but as we know, is capable of a howler. I've seen him have games where he's saved Newcastle, and I've seen him have games where he's thrown it all away. So he's a bit of a mixed bag. In that last game, he saved a pen, got 6 saves, scored an own goal, and conceded 5 goals.
Just all in that one game.
Everything all in one. This is Martin Dubravka. So I did try to tell people. There is a contingent of Newcastle fans and Newcastle media that think he's like the best keeper in the world, and I don't even think he's our best keeper. He is all right. It's one of them. It doesn't always happen in one game. Usually, you'll have this absolute blinder where you think, have we got like Khan reincarnate in you? And then other times it's, ooh, is this Taibbi? You'll have an absolute mare. So, but he's done well to get it all out in 15 minutes because he saved that pen, then made a couple of worldy saves, scores the most ridiculous own goal I've ever seen, and then he was at fault for the second goal as well, rushing out and not doing anything. Patreon, the Martin Dubravka Patreon is coming from Main Event Podcast.
It's like one of them Scooby-Doo memes, isn't it? Where you like pull the mask off. It's like, oh no, that's Karius.
Yeah, it is that. He is very similar to Karius, to be fair. Like capable of a really good game and capable of ruining all your hopes and dreams. But I do like Martin Dubravka. He looks like a nice dude, and he will forever have my support as a Newcastle fan. So have a good season, mate.
So Spain, I had them as finalists. Still probably not that high on them anymore after seeing them play.
I think that's going to be a fail, Aaron. Get my Patreon crystal ball out. That's it. Ooh,
no. I said very good team. I rate them very highly. Home advantage. Yeah, I don't know what happened, to be honest. It's just a shame they don't have Sergio Ramos to take their penalties. That's all.
Well, this is it. It would be a totally different story if they took those penalty chances. It'd be a completely different story.
Morata shouldn't be starting.
I think he does a lot off the ball. I think even if you look at
on the ball when you need a strike.
Oh, you're shocking! Like on the ball, isn't it? Was it? People are saying it was a great penalty and a great save. It was like a below average penalty and a slightly above average save. It's like a really good height for the keeper. Just powerful. Yeah, I said the allow space for Alba to exploit down that left-hand side, and Alba got a clean sheet, man of the match for the second game. A clean sheet for the first game, man of the match for the second game, and then a clean sheet and an assist for the third game. So I think Walter mentioned he's nailed on and gets assists. He did exactly what I want him to do. And the game where he blanked was actually the limitless week. So you could have avoided him. I didn't, but you could have. Was said that they struggled to break down low blocks. I think that proved to be the case against Sweden and against Poland. They struggled to break them down. Slovakia were garbage, which is how they got the 5. They scored 2 own goals. They had a nightmare on one of them. Not on one of the own goals. In terms of the second goal, they just had a nightmare. And by that point, anything could have happened. Where things went horribly wrong in my predictions were were Ferran Torres, who I said would be an outstanding midfielder. Outstanding, Aaron. So outstanding that the only points he got for me were on my bench because he was benched on the last game. So he's coming straight out. And then I said Olmo was a close second, which I think he actually was probably their better midfielder in the first game. And then didn't do much in the second. And Sarabia came in and Moreno came in and they played really well. So deservedly lost his place. So yeah, two howlers on that front. But Alba being the best player, happy.
I think moving forward, either the goalkeeper or Alba are probably the only ones you should go for because everyone has just been rotated.
I'd say Pau Torres at 4 point whatever he is now is
But
still
wasn't
okay
he
because
rested?
he was rested for the last game, but that's normal because he's going to play the group stage, the knockouts, and he came on, got an assist, and Eric Garcia came off because he hasn't played enough. Eric Garcia didn't have anything to do; he couldn't have done any less in the game.
Yeah.
So I think it was just to give him some minutes, maybe get his fitness up, let him play. But I think Pau Torres and Laporte are absolutely nailed now. So I'd probably go for Pau Torres or Alba if you're looking for attack returns. It's just the price difference.
Yeah. And then Sweden, I had that they had good players, but it might be too soon for this group. I think I got that one correct pretty much. Isaac, well, he's now in the spotlight. People now see how good of a player he is for how young he is, which is great. And they've also done really well. Well, at least up to match day 3, they did really well defensively and top of the group for them. So, like, huge, well done.
Yeah, I said awful results, but good underlying stats for them. They had a dreadful run when they had all their defeats while playing some of the best teams in Europe. So I think we said that they will be better than what their previous results showed. However, we also said, or I said specifically, avoid their players. So, avoid Forsberg and his 23 points. Avoid their 3 of their 4 defenders who got 15 points. Or avoid Olsen, who got 16 points. Avoid them all. You don't want any of those points.
You
They're
don't
not
want
worth your time, those points. You don't want them.
You don't.
Tainted points.
And the thing
So,
is, yeah, they have a good draw as well in terms of for people who are kind of viewing the round of 16 as a little mini limitless, not limitless, like a free hit, and using their wild cards for the quarterfinal. That match against Ukraine seems quite good for some of their players. So if you're able,
I've got 2 of them in. I've got 2 of them in.
In terms of the prediction, I didn't get any right, I don't believe.
Neither did I. I had Spain, Poland, Sweden, Slovakia. I thought Sweden would be one of the 3 best runners-up, or 4 best runners-up. How many ever third places they're allowing this bloody participation?
I think just all of them except one. No, I'm joking. It's like
pretty close to that. It's 8 teams go out, isn't it?
4,
so
the 4 out of best.
So yeah, none right, absolutely none whatsoever. Well done, Sweden. Top of their group 2 tournaments in a row now after they finished top in their World Cup group. Constantly being underestimated. So lastly, let's fly through these. France. We said their defense would be easy to predict. That was nonsense. It was for the first game. And then Digne played the second. And then Pavard was dropped for the third, even though we thought he should have been dropped for the second because of his head injury. It was all over the place. The 2 centre-backs were a constant. We said positively that Hernandez was more attacking, had more assist potential than Pavard. That proved to be the case by the fact that he got 1 assist and Pavard didn't get any. And we're questioning whether France could gel, because if they do, then they have so many different avenues to attack. And that proved to be the case. All 3 of their strikers, or that we consider to be their strikers, are forward players, got returns. So Griezmann got a goal, Mbappe got an assist and a penalty assist, and Benzema got 2 goals. And the goals were fairly different. So, Griezmann arrived late in the box, Benzema playing on the shoulder, and obviously one of them was a penalty. So yeah, it was the scored was different types of goals, although they don't look like they've clicked yet. And for anyone that listens to our Champions League podcast, we've talked about the France curse before in terms of every single player that's played for that 2018 France team seem to have some sort of curse on them for how badly they've been playing. Kante seems to have lifted the curse. Hernandez had a shocker the other night against Portugal. However, other than that, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And he's still not naturally a left back. He is naturally a centre back, and that is his best position. Just because he plays there more often doesn't change the fact that he's still best as a centre back and is probably their best centre back. But I think we're seeing, I don't know, them trying to break through their bad form for their clubs. Benzema's been in good form for his club, and he's been bad for France recently, but the Portugal game may have changed it.
Because I think, wasn't it match day 3, Tolisso actually started
right wing.
Yeah, it's we just don't know.
Kingsley Coman getting the Jadon Sancho treatment.
Although I said all that in the live stream, I said that France would play more through Mbappe than Portugal would with Ronaldo. Moment silence. So yeah, that was a bad one. But France still looks solid, but they've got a hard route to the final, and that final day on Group F was just craziness.
Unreal.
I mean,
Absolutely unreal.
So I enjoyed it in terms of entertainment.
Germany was said that they'd have some tactical confusion. I think that's there for everyone to see, that some of the players haven't got a clue what they're doing because they play completely different systems for club and country. We said Goretzka deserves to be playing. Obviously, he had his injury issues, which is why I think he had to be brought back slowly, because he is one of the best central midfielders on the planet quite comfortably. And his performances have been better than most for Germany. Robin Gosens obviously got a lot of attention. It's like he's not existed for the last few years when we've been borderline chewing him off every week on this podcast. But for me, he still only had one great game in the middle there, and they still conceded 2 goals when he was left back. But he was, did he do anything against Hungary? And I don't think he was fantastic against France. Havertz was said would be a great out of position. He proved to be that. He's got a couple of goals. I think that's just got 15 points overall across his 3 games. So I think if you missed him out for the France game, that's an average of 7.5 for the next couple. So we did say that they'd struggle in the groups, and that proved to be the case. The finished second. I'm not entirely sure how. It looked like they were going out. That group's a real anomaly in terms of how you can place them. But by the eye and by people that watch football, you can see that they struggled to get through the group.
Yeah. So obviously my hot take was Germany. I said that they were my dark horses and they would finish above Portugal. So I got that one right at least. But in terms of dark horses, if they get past England, they've got a nice route to the final.
Yeah.
Which could prove that prediction right, but I did not see that coming. But my prediction still stands. If it's correct, it's correct. I don't think it'll happen, though. I think that England will be too much for them, and Graydon curse incoming.
Take it back, Aaron. Just don't. So for Hungary, we said losing Big Sabo would be a big issue for them. It wasn't as much of an issue. They managed to get 3 goals across the 3 games, which is more than I think a lot of people would have expected them to. But in decisive moments, I think they could really have done with his creative influence and just stretching teams, getting in behind, being a useful person to have to shoot from outside the box, but that is also pacey and that can get beyond people. It just gives players to think about. So I don't think teams like Germany would really like to be playing against him. Be interesting to see how he does in the Bundesliga when he finally starts playing again. Was said that Portugal would be too strong at the back for them, which was proved absolutely right. Was said that France would be too strong, at the back for them, which wasn't correct. But we did say that they'd have some joy against Germany. And I think that was totally proven. They didn't have very much possession. They didn't have very many chances, but the chances that they did have, they took. And they provided all the drama on the final day. And I'm absolutely good that they didn't get through.
Mm-hmm. For me, I said that the home advantage is going to be crucial. You can't look at these. I said that you can't look at Hungary as the whipping boys that a lot of people are looking at them, and that if a lot of people were considering Turkey as the dark horses, I said that Hungary were better than Turkey, and wouldn't, and they proved that. It's just a shame that they can't qualify because them as a fourth place team are probably better than two or three of the third place teams.
100%.
And it was just amazing to have a full capacity stadium.
Portugal, don't concede a lot of goals. That's what I said. They definitely don't concede 4 goals to Germany. The don't concede 2 goals to France. Although to be fair, the pen was never a pen.
Portugal should have won that game.
Yeah, it just absolutely scandalous. I don't know how the referee's given it. We complain about that ref every time for the Champions League, every single time. I don't know how he's still a referee. Does me head in. They said that they've got players up front all over the pitch that can do massive damage. No, they don't. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo. To be fair, I think Jota did all right, didn't he, for the first game and the second game. So yeah,
he scored in the second game.
It was Jota and Ronaldo. They were providing almost everything. I said that they were my favourites to win. That has completely changed for anyone that cares. Italy are my favourites to win now, in my opinion. I said that it wouldn't be easy against France. I think that proved to be the case as a 2-2 draw. But the one correct thing that was said about this lot was don't go for Bruno Fernandes, who got 6 points. And I was a bit gutted because I squeezed it in after my minute. I said the last time, oh, we've got a minute, but you know what? It's the last one. Who cares? Bruno Fernandes, he's a trap. He's this, that, and that. Don't go for him. Then he had a world against Israel. And everyone's, I've got to get him in. I've got to get him in. I've got to get him in. And yeah, nothing. I think got a 3, a 2, and a 1. Progressively worse. And he played badly. He didn't have a good game in any of them, and arguably should have given away a pen for France when he stood on somebody's calf. Can't remember whose calf.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, because in the Premier League, he'll get a penalty or something to disguise a bad game, so it still looks like his stats are really good, especially in terms of fantasy games as well. But I said they were a very good team, but I was very skeptical. I don't trust them. And Cancelo just completely killed my team. I messed up my whole team to try and fit him in, totally restructured it, trying to like different price points, etc. And then halfway through match day 1, got COVID. He's out the squad. And then it was just all a mess. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Cancelo anymore.
It's not his fault. I did exactly the same. He was the player that I brought in, and gratefully, it didn't ruin too many plans. Limitless second game wasn't a problem, and then to be fair, I could have left him in. Third game, I brought in Robin Gosens for him. Who got 1 point.
Yeah, because what happened with me was instead of going down to Dumfries, which a lot of people did, with who had Cancelo, I went straight across to Alba. Obviously, that's the only game he blanked. So, grade and curse for Alba. But in terms of predictions, I got every single one correct in this group. France, Germany, Portugal, Hungary. So 4 points.
I thought you were going to say something else there, Aaron. I thought you were going to tell me to 4 points off. That's what I thought you were about. I was like, you don't swear. I didn't get full points. I went for France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary, So I got 2 points. So next time we are going to have a pre-deadline live stream. I think Nathan and Cameron are going to come on. Nathan said that he will. I think we're waiting to hear back from Cameron. We know that, let's be honest, Cameron is the reason why people listen. So we are going to do that. We're going to have a full review of actually how our teams are doing. Me and Aaron have touched on our ranks and a little bit points, nothing too specific. But we'll all touch on how our teams have actually done, and we will do a team reveal. And we are also going to do some tips, just in terms of, for people that haven't played this type of game before, on how to actually attack a knockout stage of a fantasy game. So we will talk about all of those in the next one, and it will be live. So we look forward to seeing you for that. We are at UCL Fantasy Pod. Feel free, obviously, to catch us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube Podcast, Anchor, as well as YouTube now that we do tend to show our despicable faces. Aaron, thanks so much for jumping on, as ever. I know that we kind of went over the minute thing on this one, but who cares? And we will see you next time for that live stream. Have a good night, everyone, and best of luck if we don't see you then. Bye now.